ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó máa kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ. Ẹ̀sìn òní bímọ méjì ní gbòòrò mọ̀ rẹ̀. Bẹ́sìn bá bímọ méjì ní gbòòrò. Áfíkọ̀ pọ̀pọ̀ sí. Ámúkan yòókù bọ̀ sànyà. Àtúmúyà rẹ̀ tí ò lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́. Àfiṣẹ́rù wálé. Wàràmùjẹ́. Ọmọ onílé ọ̀la. Àwọn àjòjì tó ń ṣe ségesège. Tọ́láwọn ò ní bomi kó sí mu. Wọ́n láwọn ò ní bomi sànyà wẹ́sẹ̀. Ìgbà tó dúkọ̀ obìnrin ń gbọ́. Gbogbo wọn náà sáré bomi kó sí mu. Wọ́n sì bomi sànyà wẹ́sẹ̀. Ọmọ abẹ́rẹ́ mẹ́ta òde ayé. Ọ̀kan ṣẹ́, ọ̀kan tẹ̀, ọ̀kan tó kù ní gbogbo ayé tí ń ránṣọ kiri. Gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá Sunday Igboho onírèlè láéláé torí àbá lásán nìkan ń dá òkúta òṣègbè fún wọn o. Ìmọ̀ràn lásán ni ti balùwẹ̀ kò pọ́sibú kó dòdò láyé ń bí. Ó kù díẹ̀ kí tọ́ domi láéláé ìtọ́ nílé domi. Sunday Igboho arógun láti ìdí tó ń jà fẹ́tọ̀ Yorùbá ní tilé tó kọ́.
Koikimedia, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn sálára àgbà yìí dá, àwọn ló lásà àti èdè. Ìgbéde lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
But we dey move closer before dem go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But we dey move closer before dem go sabi.
Ọ̀gbìn lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ ìhun ló ló lọ́jọ́.
Ẹyẹ tó dorí kodò bí àdó ọgbẹ́jì lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè kó dúdú àga.
Òdúdú àtọ́bá lè gbé wá.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣègìrì. Ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ilé rí. Àwa lè bá ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni ìmọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Ìyàwó Odùduwà ni wá.
Koikimedia, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú owó ìwà mọ́ni.
Kásá. Ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wà kájé bùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú owó ìwà mọ́ni.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú owó ìwà mọ́ni.
News and sports, ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó gbójú owó ìwà mọ́ni.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ ni ló ní kí n máa gé tantan. Koikimedia, ọ̀rọ̀ lágbàdì mọ̀ mi. Má bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ̀, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ ni. Ṣé ìlọ máa fi dìbò ọ̀tẹ̀ máa lọ? Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé máa dé máa dé. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjọ́jì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ. Àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ á tẹ̀lé ní bọ́ra. Ẹ̀yin lọ́ máa náwó Òyìnbó tó dé. Ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́kun pọ̀ sí o. Koikimedia, sáwa ni bàbá. Koikimedia, àwọn ni bàbá.
Koikimedia, àwọn ni bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrè gidi.
Koikimedia, àwọn ni bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọgbọ́n o.
Koikimedia, àwọn ni bàbá.
Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Koikimedia, àwọn ni bàbá.
Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn.
Koikimedia, àwọn ni bàbá.
Ikú tó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú Koikimedia, we bring you one closer to your doorstep. Koikimedia, afẹ́fẹ́ tó fẹ́ òòdùn kan yòókù lára ni. Koikimedia, akèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe. Koikimedia, gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́ àwa ni bàbá o. Koikimedia, ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà yín wá. Koikimedia, òdúdú alágbèdá ní òtítọ́ lágbèdá ní. Koikimedia, àkìsọ̀dálẹ̀ àkìsọ̀dígẹ̀ta. Koikimedia, àdúrótán àkúpẹ̀rẹ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀. Koikimedia, Koikimedia, we bring you one closer to your doorstep. Koikimedia is around to give us latest. Is around to give us latest. Ladies and gentlemen, ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ̀kọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo. Ladies and gentlemen, ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ̀kọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo. Koikimedia is around to give us latest.
Koikimedia with
We have an hour into the program. Mokibogwa, I say good afternoon. I will not have the time to kiyi layo konkon. So I say good afternoon to all and those that are going to watch it later. Let's go with this. I'm coming back.
Eka sanwó kúrò lẹ eka lẹ o ẹ̀yin bàbá mi ẹ̀yin mọmọ mi pàápàá jùlọ nílùú Germany káàkiri gbogbo Europe mo kí ẹ̀yin tèmi tí mo filẹ̀ ní ìlú Duisburg gínsìn àti Düsseldorf òní ní 15/1/2024 mo kí ẹ̀yin tèmi tí mo filẹ̀ ní Duisburg gínsìn sísìn àtẹ̀yin tèmi tí ẹgbàá mi àlejò ní Düsseldorf so ẹsẹ̀ ni mo wà báyìí ẹsẹ̀ ni mo wà nílùú Germany lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí so mo kí gbogbo ara ẹsẹ̀ ni gbogbo olùbá káàkiri ayé mo kí lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin kò ní kí n dárúkọ mi wọ̀ tẹ́ bá fẹ́ kí n ṣe fẹ́rẹ́ lójú orúkọ nítorí jẹ orúkọ mi ní Sunday Adé wọn tó gbé mọ̀ Sunday Igboho mo ń gbọ́ kan táwọn kan sọ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo sọ níjẹta nípa pé wẹ́bsáìtì yìí káwọn èèyàn máa bá mi fọ́ọ̀lù bọ́dà mi tó ní torí pé bọ́dà mi dáadáa ni èmi àti wọn náà láti yọ káàkiri látàwọn náà gbé mi lọ sí Duisburg wọ́n gbé mi sí lọ káwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi ń bẹ̀ wọ́n gbé mi lọ Düsseldorf wọ́n tún gbé mi wá sí ẹ̀sán bíbá láti wá kí àwọn èèyàn mi so wọ́n á ń gọ́tà yẹn kẹsàn-án pé bóyá mi lóko ìkímọ̀ náà Koiki sì ni spokesman mi Dọ̀túnlá Mẹ́wàá lórí ọ̀rọ̀ sọ́ọ̀bù tá a jọ wà yìí so mi ò tí ì díẹ̀ òun ni spokesman ọ̀rọ̀ tí n bá ti sọ fúnra mi tí n bá mo lè sọ fún kó bá mi sọ jáde kó bá mi kọ́ jáde so Koiki sì ni spokesman mi o today is 15/1/2024 mi ò change Koiki o ẹ̀jọ̀ ẹ̀yìn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí pé Ìgbòho ti gbé àwọn àgbààgbà tí ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá kò fẹ́ yé mi mọ́ tí n bá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹni mò ń bú àwọn àgbàlagbà òun ló jẹ́ kárí Yorùbá nìsan gbà mo tẹ̀ tó bá ń kí wọn mo tún yìn wọn ẹ tún ní mò ń bẹ̀ wọ́n mò ń yìn wọ́n òkè kílẹ̀ Yorùbá fẹ́ kí n ṣe kò yé mi mọ́ ẹ ṣe kó tó do kì í ṣe tẹ ẹrù ẹni mọ̀ pé kì mí kì í kó ń gbéra mi gábi sodo but ìyá méjì òkè bí yẹn tó sì yá mi òkú àdògán ó ń bẹ mọ́túwẹ́lì lọ́wọ́ DSS òkúrò àbàtàì ó ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ DSS gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá kẹfà ló sọ fún láti fẹjọ́ fún wa láti gbò fún yẹn nìyẹn oníṣọ́ọ̀bù yẹn bàbá táyà kú sí orí ẹ̀ làdọ̀dọ̀ kú sí ẹkí lórúkọ ọmọ mi tó kú lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nínú òkú tiẹ̀ náà ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́pàá àìgbàgbọ́ yẹ kájọ fún àbàtì fẹ́ gbà tó ọgbọ́n la máa fi jagun tó mú rọgbẹ́ bàbá mi tí n bá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹni mo sẹ̀ kéèbù mi tó sẹ̀ kéèbù mo tún ń yin àwọn bàbá wa àwọn ni wọ́n ní wa bàbá náà jẹ́ ẹtún ní mò ń yìn wọ́n mò ń bẹ̀ wọ́n kò yé mi ẹ bàbá olówó ohun tí ò jẹ́ kọ́kà dùn mí tọrọ yóò fi dùn mí ni pé bí abatẹ kiri ńlá yẹn bàbá olówó ńgbà tó ń ṣe sọ́ọ̀bù Yorùbá bàbá wa gàdé stéèjì kan bàbá rí pé ọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ọ̀fẹ́ yà wọn mọ́ bàbá wa náà da gbogbo ẹ̀ mọ́ Yorùbá ẹ̀ dárí jì mí bàbá olówó sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ńgbà yẹn pé èyí ní ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́ so tẹ ẹ bá fẹ́ fọ̀rọ̀ sùn yẹn ìyá sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí bá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹni gbòó tí ń bọ́ àwọn àgbàlagbà ó ṣe kí ibú ó ń bú wọn ó ń ṣe kí nìkẹ́ ó ń ṣe gbà mo tún kí gbogbo àwọn bàbá wa àwọn àgbàlagbà mo tún bẹ̀ wọ́n mò ń rọ̀ wọ́n mò ń yàn ẹ tún ní mò ń bẹ̀ wọ́n ọ̀dà Ọlọ́run gbà fún wa Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ bá wa ṣe gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ nígbà tí mo búra wa ká máa járáǹkì ara wa ẹni tó lọ́ bá ti gbà fẹ́ tí ká gbà fún ọ̀rọ̀ fọ́ọ̀gbù kì í ṣe nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ lè tà sí anybody ló lè jáde mo rántí pé ńgbà tí mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ fọ́ọ̀gbù ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń sọ pé kí Sunday Igboho ló ṣe mọ́ Sunday Igboho mi lọ ń bẹ́lẹ̀ èmi ò sọ fún mi ò ṣe mọ́ èmi àdìsọ́mọ aládìkún mi ò sọ fún mi ò ṣe mọ́ bọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ mi náà ti jáde tó jẹ́rú mi ájọmọ́ sí lọ kò sí wàhálà ṣẹ́ṣẹ́ wá wọ́n jẹ́ ká máa bára wa jẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ni ẹ jẹ́ kájọ gbéra wa lárugẹ ẹ jẹ́ kájọ sọ́ọ̀bù gbogbo akúnra wa lájọ mọ̀ pé ó kìnnà bí wọ́n bá mọ̀ tẹ́mi ò mọ̀ nínú ọkàn tiẹ̀ yóò mọ̀ sọ owó gán mọ̀ sọ náà kàrẹ́ ibi à Buhari fa Nàìjíríà jẹ gan láàárọ̀ ọdún mẹ́jọ tó lò ó fún àti àdánù ní ọdún mẹ́jọ tí Buhari lò Nàìjíríà wọ́n mọ̀ ẹ̀mí mọ̀ náà kí ló ń tara wa fún ẹ̀rọ mẹ́ta ni wọ́n fi dá Nàìjíríà lẹ̀ wọ́n ní Yorùbá Haúsá Ìgbò àbí ní orílẹ̀ Yorùbá ní gbogbo ọrọ̀ ajé ló pọ̀ jù sí àti Ìgbò àwọn Fúlàní ló ń kọ̀ọ̀dúró àti wọ́n mọ̀ tẹ́mi mọ́ ọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ká ọmọ Yorùbá kájọ fẹ́ nira wa ṣọ̀kan ká dó sójú kan mo fẹ́ sí ìyá méjì bí yẹn ń bẹ mọ́túárì pẹ̀lú ògbọ́n náà ẹ má rò pé mo ń ṣeré mò ń bọ̀ wá sí ìyá mi ní òtútọ́ o mò ń bọ̀ nílé wá sí ìyá mi pẹ̀lú ògbọ́n náà ọjọ́ kò láyọ̀ ẹ̀mí gbogbo nínú sí dùn ó kí gbogbo ìgbà ẹ mọ̀jà fara wa jà ẹ mọ̀jà fúra wa mọ́ ẹ mọ̀jà fara wa sẹ̀sí kó dá kí là ń fara wa jà fún kí ṣe tó jó kí ṣe tẹ̀ rù ẹ jọ stand but mo fẹ́ ká mọ kíní kan dájú pé ẹni tí kú sẹ́ òun ni mo mórí ya kọ̀ yẹ ká mọ ló ara wa ẹ mọ̀jà mọ̀ síbẹ̀ mo dúpẹ́ mo kí orúkọ mi lẹ́ẹ̀kan tí ní Sunday Adé mo ti gbọ́mọ̀ sí Sunday Igboho love you all.
tó òun náà ni a ti gbọ́ mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí mo nílé ìdárúkọ gbogbo wa because mo ní time púpọ̀ ní ọ̀sán ẹ̀ àti ní program wa ó máa wá ní ọ̀sán ó dẹ̀ lè má wá for now I will not be on the Star Radio because I'm doing a lot of other things so there's probability pé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ń rò pé ẹ máa rí mi ní orí Star Radio you might not see me for some time because I'm so busy presently so but we will still be on the Star Radio but for now the 11 o'clock I will not be on there at the moment until we have enough that we can say it's enough TMF support wa if otherwise we will have to continue to adjust a lot of things I'm gonna go straight into it ọ̀nà méjì ni mo fẹ́ fi sọ̀rọ̀ mo kọ́kọ́ fẹ́ sọ díẹ̀ nínú ntí bàbá wa Alànà tó fi ránṣẹ́ sí mi I've already shared that and I'm going to I think I should be able to pick it from here I've already posted that to different platforms and I hope that ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín ti rí ẹni tó bá ti rí hopefully because bí a kò tí dọ́dọ̀ yín lè ṣe tí rí I'm trying to see if I can send it Kilodato Fish you may not be properly view it from here all right I might have to send it as an email to myself so that my lyrica it might be no more while I'm still trying to get to sort that out quickly let me just bring something in again while we're sorting that out
The cost of fuel has gone up. Food and other prices have followed it. Households and businesses struggling. Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there's not.
Chai!
The cost of fuel has gone up. Food and other prices have followed it. Households and businesses struggling. Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there's not.
Chai!
I wish there's other way, but there's none.
Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ bí ọ̀rọ̀ epo àwọn á di 200 á di mẹ́fà. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀, a máa gbé wálẹ̀.
Ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀.
Ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, kẹ́ fọkàn balẹ̀.
Ọlọ́run ni mo fi wẹ̀ fún yàn gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ fún bàbá mi láyé kò fún bàbá mi ò tí ì fi yọ̀ǹda mẹ́sàn-án fún mi ń bẹ̀ ó kọ̀ mí jíjú bàbá mi lọ. Gbogbo àdìbọ́lá mo lọ nínú bàbá mi ojúmọ̀ mi mọ̀ fọmọ dàkọ̀ mi nìkan ayédàkẹ́ sọ́n dáadáa tàbí kẹ́ sọ́n burúkú ẹ̀ sáfù kan omi lọ́lọ́run fún bí n bá sì kú ẹ̀ lè gbà sí èmi sí.
Why we Yoruba must exit Nigeria? Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn máa ń béèrè kí ni ìdí tí a ṣe fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the Alano and the oracle of our time. He has actually sent something to all the Yoruba sons and daughters, and I'm going to spend time. I hope I can read it out before 4 o'clock, because I know a call is going to come through before 4, and I'm going to push as much. Like I said, I will not be able to mention names of every single one, but Mukiba Bakito and Mukiba leaders were. Why we Yoruba must exit Nigeria? Nigeria poses a mortal threat to the very existence of the Yoruba nation. It is imperative to remove this entrenched essential threat promptly in order to avoid becoming a catastrophic example of a derelict civilization of careless people who act too late. The infamous amalgamation of the Northern and the Southern Protectorate to create Nigeria in 1914 entailed an indiscriminate lumping together of ethnic groups with disparate cultures, dissonant values, clashing world views. With Nigerian people operating in deep suspicions and fears of one another, and with the British colonial officials encouraging the growth of the mutual suspicions and fear, Nigeria grew into a scene of permanent struggle for domination of the totality of Nigerian social, political, and economic space. This was resulted in a state of anarchy, which expresses itself on unending conflict and wars among the various people trapped in pretending nation state of Nigeria. The British chose in the last years before independence to elevate to the position of dominance over Nigeria the Fulani, a small minority people, the least educated people in Nigeria, and the least inclined to accept or pursue modern education and development, holding the control of the federal government at independence. The Fulani concluded that they were meant to be the new colonial overlords of Nigeria, and the way forward for them was to use federal power to subdue the other peoples of Nigeria, and thereby establish themselves in a permanent dominance over Nigeria. In the process, a political culture of impunity, crooked manipulation of processes, blunt corruption, and decline of morality took over the life of Nigeria. the historical cultural ascendancies of the Yoruba nation in the Black Africa, the modern Yoruba trajectory towards social, political, social, economic development and modernization have been effectively blocked. Nigeria has deliberately constituted a firm and devastating impediment and a determined drag to the vibrant progress in the modernization that the Yoruba nation has started to accomplish in the decade before the Nigerian independence in 1950s, in democratic politics, in education, science, and technology. Before the advent of the European colonial rule, the Yoruba had been far ahead of the rest of the Black Africa in modernization. Urban civilization, political civilization, economic prosperity, long-distance commerce, and artistic culture. And the Yoruba had built the largest empire in the history of West Africa. But since their inclusion in the ill-motivated British political contrivance called Nigeria, the Yoruba have been declining devastatingly. Today, the decline of the Yoruba nation in Nigeria across all realms of human endeavor has reached a fateful nadir, and the Yoruba must act urgently to separate their nation from the shithole country you all call Nigeria. Because the Yoruba people place great importance on education, the destruction of the quality of education under the Fulani influence in Nigeria has been a major disaster to the Yoruba people. Moreover, the general decline of Nigerian economy and the growth of deep uncertainty for businesses have resulted in Yoruba land in the flight of investment to other countries and shutting down of industries that have been established by the Yoruba before Nigeria independence. In circumstances, unemployment has been racking the lives of educated Yoruba youth for decades, forcing thousands of Yoruba youth to hurry to flee abroad annually, and even forcing many to attempt to reach Europe by fleeing across the arid Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea, a venture that regularly takes the lives of hundreds of youth. Yoruba land is being robbed of its young educated professionals. And the effect of the Yoruba nation in Nigeria is terrible. For many of the educated Yoruba youth who remain at home, the prospects are grim in the years of unemployment, wretched poverty, inability to settle down to marry and begin to raise families of their own. Hopelessness and shame. Many of these who, for any reason, not being able to flee abroad, are unhappily going into crime, drug abuse, criminal court, internet crime, and prostitution. Many of the ones with lesser education are fleeing as refuge to the neighboring countries like Benin Republic, Togo Republic, where there are sections of the Yoruba nation where employment is easier to find, where some small businesses is easier to create and grow, where life is certainly more secure than in the bastard Olori Burukuto ni Dafu Nigeria country, where one can live in a safe and satisfying life among the Yoruba kith and kin. The stark truth about today is that the Yoruba nation in Nigeria is breaking up, and it will break. It doesn't matter how long it takes. We will break the last British empire called Nigeria, either by peace or by war. Even more devastating to the fortunes of the Yoruba nation in Nigeria has been, since 2015, the Fulani threat to physical existence of the Yoruba people through murderous assault on the Yoruba population across the Yoruba land, These unremitted and ferocious attacks have decimated Yoruba rural life and essentially destroyed the agricultural economy of the Yoruba nation. The savage invasion that heavily armed Fulani men, herdsmen, and militias have been brought upon Yoruba land have destroyed the peace and the tranquility in the entirety of the Yoruba land today. The authorities of the Western world, especially Britain and the United States, have kept telling the world that the Fulani killings and destructions in Nigeria are a result of climate change. That is what America and British is telling us, that they are fighting because it's a climate change. The consequence is now becoming deterioration of grassland in the Western African Sahel. The consequence of varying of Fulani cattle herders 12 southward. This assertion is a deliberately false representation of the situation. A ploy by the Western world authorities to cover and justify their continued support of the Fulani in the affairs of Nigeria, even in the spite of Nigeria's disastrous record under the Fulani dominance. This unrelenting falsehood is a crime against humanity. It is true that drought in the Sahel in the 80s and 90s did not bring hardship upon cattle herders, made some cattle herders veer southward in West Africa sub-region, generally in search of grass for their cattle. But what has happened in Nigeria has not happened in other countries of West Africa. It's a deliberate agenda of the Nigerian Fulani political elite to seize upon the distress of the cattle herders, turn them by indoctrination into a Fulani army of conquest over the Nigeria. We saw that in Lagos some few weeks ago. Many people have forgotten. The indigenous people claiming to be Lagosians in that fake certificate presented. Equip them with sophisticated modern weapons, while the Yorubas are told to return their weapons to the federal government. They've now literally overpowered every single one of us. Listen to the news in the last couple of days. Abuja is no longer safe. As I speak to you right now, Wike is calling an emergency meeting about what is going on in FCT. That is Abuja. I pity a lot of Yoruba people that are defending these Fulani marauders that are killing us. What I'm reading is coming straight from Professor Banji Akintoye from Benin Republic. Equip them with sophisticated modern weapons, with RPG. 2 days ago precisely, if I'm right, the military barracks in Castina was overrun by the Boko Haram Fulani terrorists. Many Nigerians think that we are joking when they say that they will come and kill us if we do not stop them now. Your governors will not be able to save you. The late Malafia Obadia told us when they finish in the rural areas, they will come into the urban areas. We are now raising money for the Fulani terrorists on social media. We can now see them waging their lifestyle on the TikTok in 21st century. They are now unleashing them sophisticated weapons and unleash them on the non-Fulani peoples of Nigeria. The objective of all these is far-reaching. It is meant to give the Fulani nation, a nation that has never posed a homeland. They were never part of what used to be the Yoruba Empire and the other empires. Fulani was never part of us. They are now your governors in the northern part of Nigeria. And you all think it's a joke. You all think that we don't have a job. We spend hours and time trying to tell you the invasion is getting closer. You will be killed if you don't prepare your mind to kill them before you are killed. That is the motto of the Israel. And that is why Israel has been attacking Palestine with over 25,000 people that have died. Prayer is not going to solve the situation. We must all rise up, just like Tiwa Danjuma told us. Many of you don't want to rise up. You will be a victim if you don't. The objective of all this is far-reaching. It is meant to give the Fulani nation. These Fulani doesn't have a country of their own. They are now planning to take over our own territorial place called the Yoruba land that was given to us by our great forefathers. And some of you say it's never going to happen. But right in front of us, we can feel it, we can see it, we can touch it. In December, a Yoruba musician was kidnapped and rode from Kogi to Abuja. He paid for his life and his team 90 million. I am asking for just less than a certain amount of money on the social media so that we can be able to become a very powerful media to fight these monstrous that is killing us and challenge the status quo from the federal to the world. None of you are taking us serious. But when you are kidnapped, you will look for money to give them. I was listening to China's television just about a few minutes ago. The young man says maybe it is high time that everybody has a weapon to defend themselves. Bola Tinubu will not be able to defend you, neither none of your governors. The invasion would happen. How soon, I don't know, but for every day they are becoming extremely very powerful. We are now paying terrorists so that we can save our life, and they are armed to the teeth. And you think the CNN, the Al Jazeera, and the BBC and the Sky News care less about your lives back in Nigeria? You need a media that can challenge the status quo. And this is the media that can do that job very well. Let's continue. The objective of all this is far-reaching. It is meant to give the Fulani a nation that have never posed a homeland now comprising the whole of Nigeria. That is why the former President Muhammadu Buhari, a bastard, dead or alive, a foremost Fulani leader, remember he came to Ibadan to challenge the sitting governor because his clan were being attacked. A Fulani leader doggedly supported and assisted the agenda of Fulani conquest of Nigeria throughout his 8 years. Buhari literally gave them more access and power. And when Chief Sunday Igboho wanted to stop them, they went for him on the 1st of July 2021 to assassinate him because it was a stumbling block for them. And some of you think you can now bring Igboho down while we are still alive. We will deal with every single one of you from every one of those medias that are in support of the righteous, the quest of the Yoruba people. We will protect Igboho just as Biden is being protected by the American secret services and the media. We will protect Igboho just as Rishi Sunak is being protected day in, day out in this country. We will give him all the accolades that we need to give him on a daily basis. And like I said yesterday, without repeating my words, go and listen to my program yesterday. If you don't feel comfortable with him, I repeat again, die more than today, don't wait till tomorrow. For 8 years of Buhari's presidency, while he tried repeatedly to use the federal power to seize land, we all saw that the Ruga, the water land, all these to seize land for the Fulani along the waterways and other places all over Nigeria. Why he has announced that anybody in Africa could come to Nigeria without a travel document. But we saw Professor Moyo, an American citizen carrying a Nigerian passport, was almost killed in his own father's land. But the Fulanis were allowed to come in without no document. Try to travel between the borders and see how difficult it could be, how challenging it could be. You could lose your life within a split of seconds if you continue to look into the eyes of those bastard military Fulani terrorists that they've kept in the borders. I have witnessed it before. I know what I'm talking about. A lot of you have witnessed it. Igboho himself witnessed it one time on his route back to Ibadan, traveling through that junction. Professor Moyo would have been a dead man if he was not smart enough to give them what they want. Many of you think, oh, this is a joke. A 13-year-old was killed again. Just as we were talking about Nabila. I don't know Nabila. She's from the northern part of Nigeria. But I am concerned for her, just as I'm concerned for many of you idiots. Bomb bastards. You want us to sit back so that they can overrun us? Is that what you want? You think we are joking? You think this is all because of monetary or because we want to be famous? Idiot all over the place. My family have been famous before social media. You can ask Ebenezer Obey, he's still alive, so that you can know about my dad. Bomb bastards. You think social media kept me famous when my dad was still spending money in and out of this country without using the politician money. Today, the politicians, you can see Atiku in Dubai. That's where he lives. Continue to say nothing is going to happen in Jesus' name, but it's going to happen. And we're all going to witness it. But we can stop it with everything we have. So this is again a brilliant write-up that I've not finished reading, coming from a leader that some of you have tried to castigate, bastards all over the place, especially these bastard Yoruba people. Baba Akintoye is a thief. Oleni is working for politicians. Bastard all over the place. He continued to do a write-up at this age of 88 years old, highlighting the dangers so that somebody like us can read it out to you in a simple English. Bastard all over the place. Buhari opened Nigeria for the Fulanis. He actually announced it in one of his trips that they can come in without any document. While he tried repeatedly to use the federal power to seize land for the Fulani along the waterways and other places all over Nigeria. While he announced that anybody in Africa could come to Nigeria without a travel document, a coded invitation to Fulani people over the West and Central Africa with a porous border that we have in the first place. And while he knew all northern Nigerian border gates open for unrestrained access for the incoming Fulani herders, while he ensured that the Nigerian security officials would not arrest Fulani in the act of killing and destroying. Maybe some of you should go back and ask what happened at the Kuje prison. Till date, nobody has given an account of how many of the terrorists left that prison. Abolongo prison was also invaded by Wakilo. Today, nobody knows where he is. Since the Fulani were made phenomenally confident in Buhari's years, they are simply continuing with their killing, raping, destruction, kidnapping, now under President Buhari's successor, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And some of you get hyped up quickly because of Igboho's message. Idiot all over the place. Across Nigeria and in the Yoruba homeland, we've seen more of the Fulani terrorists that have come back. They were very quiet during Buhari's years. We can now see more kidnapping. The youth corpers have spent 149 days in the captivity of this Boko Haram Fulani terrorists. But the Nigerian media continue to use the word kidnappers and bandits. The persistent assertion by the West that all the Fulani killings and destructions in Nigeria are a result of climate change is a cover-up for the Western powers' continued support of the Fulani in the affairs of Nigeria. Even in spite of Nigeria's disastrous record under the Fulani dominance that was foisted on by British. There are no official estimate of the numbers of Yoruba people or other peoples that have been killed by the Fulani marauders, because the government is not interested in giving us how many people have died in the 8 years of Buhari's government by the Fulani terrorists, the ISIS, the ISWAP, and all other element criminals parading themselves in that contraction you call country called Nigeria. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, 16th January 2024, London, 15:35 p.m. As Nigeria public space is mired in criminality, sleaze, immorality, the exposure of the Yoruba to the toxicity has bred a small clique of powerful Yoruba high-level scavengers who are motivated by personal greed to align with their authors of the most subdued culture of public corruption on earth, of the most frightening system of impunity, insensitive governance, the enemies and the traducers of the ethic values of the Yoruba nation. The Yoruba nation is thus at a critical junction in this, the beginning of the year 2024. For the Yoruba nation today, the options are either to stay in Nigeria and sink into the utter barbarism, just like we saw the Titanic sunk. Billionaires paid $250,000 just to go underneath the ocean of Titanic. They never came out. No one will ever bring Titanic out from the deep of the ocean. You will never. It doesn't matter how many fasting your church or your mosque or your traditional try to tell you about Nigeria. Nigeria has sunk, and it will never rise in Jesus' name, inshallah. Lashe Dumare. Gbogbo ẹni tó bá ní kí Nigeria kò rise, ẹ ní ṣoríire ni mo sọ fún yín. Wọ́n máa pa ọmọ yín lójú ni. See, a 13 years old was killed just to send a message to the parent that we are not joking. We need the money. A 13 years old was killed just less than a couple of days. Two families are crying as they lost two children in the hands of the captivity. And your church tells you Nigeria is going to be better. Kò ní dá fún pastor yẹn, kò ní ṣoríire, kò ní dá fún imam yẹn, kò ní dá fún babaláwo náà. Tó bá ṣe sọ pé ká máa gbàdúrà fún Nigeria, ó ní ṣoríire ni mo sọ. Nobody pray for Nigeria. We pray for the destruction of Nigeria to come down so that the lives of innocent people can be much better. Idiot all over the place. And shoriri. Bomb bastard all over the place. Cover up with religion for so long. We will destroy Nigeria from outside. 2024. Nigeria is crumbling edifice and has been described by the external observer that have also made use of Nigeria. Shell just pull out of Nigeria. Idiot all over the place. Go and see. Shell destroyed the Niger Delta area. Nobody can fish anymore. They've now pulled out of Nigeria. Awolori Buruku. Shell pull out of Nigeria after they destroyed the river Rhine. That was what Ken Saro-Wiwa was fighting for until he was killed by the late bastard Abacha. Abacha's wife is still alive. His children are still alive. His grandchildren are still alive. The way Ken Saro-Wiwa was hanged and killed in 1995, if I'm right with the dates. Idiot all over the place. The same Shell is now pulling out. Amnesty International is now warning Shell to make sure that they do all the cleanup in that area before they leave. Some of you don't even understand the consequence of what we're going through. Bomb bastard all over the place. Nigeria is crumbling edifice and has been described by the external observer as a dilapidated falling house. We've seen so many dilapidated houses in Lagos. Sometimes you see, hey, it collapsed, it collapsed. It's because that house has been dilapidated and there was nobody to make sure that they can build a foundation and start afresh. You want to build on a false foundation. That is never going to work. Nigeria is a false foundation created by the British in 1914. We will crumble it and we will start afresh again. It is never too late to start fresh. It's a falling house, or more recently as a collapsed structure. You want to build on something that doesn't have a foundation. What is the basis of Nigeria? Who are Nigerians? The British created Nigeria for their own selfish interest, for business venture. Idiot all over the place. That's why most of you will never get a visa to come to this country. And when you get a visa, you're coming to become a second slave, just like we have lived here for 25 years. 15 years, I was fighting the British government just to get a document that can allow me to work and also travel back to the shithole country they created for us. Idiot all over the place. Praying for Nigeria. You think the British children pray every day before they have 3 square meal? They don't have to pray. All of these descriptions are consistent with the stoop into which Nigeria has fallen in recent decades. Experts acknowledge that the colonial experiment, Nigeria was an experiment for the British. 100 years, it has already expired. The bastard politicians are now manipulating everything and telling us every 4 years we should go and cast your vote with a fake PVC that Bola Tinubu will rig the election and he will rig the next one because that is what they're good at. Where's Katrina Lang, the former British High Commissioner that told you to go and get your PVC? Idiot. She has moved on again to another country to destroy. She never had a good record from what we heard. Every country she traveled to represent the British always come back as chaos. You're expecting Oyibo people to tell you what I'm telling you. You think they care about us. Shell is pulling out of Nigeria. Go and read it in People's Gazette. After they destroyed the River Rhine. She didn't destroy America and we're here shouting every day. You think, I just finished eating Eba as a Ijebu man. My wife is going to work. She started in the afternoon. My children have gone to school. Bastard. Family tension. You cannot even take care of yourself, not to take care of your children. Because inflation. What are we going to do? You will support the movement. And we will push until we push them to the wall. Just like Obasanjo says. We are not violent people, but we will push them. We will come out when we are told to come out. Not say, we are not coming out because we don't have transport fare and won't Lushi. I've told you about some workers that trekked all the way from Manchester or somewhere around there to London to protest for inconveniences. Some of you think that the diaspora will be funding when you are not ready. First of all, the cash out. Idiot all over the place. We will all stop the nonsense political nonsense amala politics and begiri politics don't she táwọn lò ṣe fire ṣe gbogbo àwọn governors àwọn lórí burúkú tó ní ṣòrèrè tá máa dá sí ìdìsí gbogbo wọn lára tó bá dé stage kan ọ máa sá lọ wọ́n á yìnbọn títí wọ́n á pa ẹni tó máa pa àwa tó kù máa lé wọn á lé wọn wọ̀gbẹ́ nígbà tásìkò bá tó wọ́n á sáré kábà kóbókóbó kò tí tó stage yẹn. It could be another 2 years to 3 years. We will prepare for that. Tó bá ti gba diplomacy wàá gba kodoro ìkànnì méjèèjì ni. They cannot keep us in this situation while you are suffering and we are suffering as well in this shithole world that we are living. The wicked world. 25,000 innocent people have died in Palestine. You think the United Nations cares about anybody? They can't stop the war. Sudan ló ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yẹn, Ukraine ló ń lọ níbẹ̀ yẹn, tí Nàìjíríà fẹ́ tó súnmọ́. Tó bá bí yín dá, tí Biafra bá bẹ̀rẹ̀, kẹ́ni kọ́ stop, ìpìlẹ̀ máa gbà lọ́nu mi. Mo ti sọ fún yín, ọdún yìí ẹ máa gbèpè díẹ̀díẹ̀. And I hope my mom will understand. Ẹ̀bà ni mo ṣe jẹ tán. Mo ní láti sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí mo fi jẹ. Mo ṣe jẹ bàtán ni. Ṣé ìwọ náà rẹ bàjẹ́? Gàrí lásán ẹ lè rí mu. Ti báyé yín jẹ́. Wọ́n ti sọ gbogbo yín dolóṣì. Wọ́n ti sọ yín di naked. Wọ́n ti gba aṣọ kúrò lára yín. Wọ́n ti fi sínú wòwò. Àwa wá ní ká bora wa láṣọ. Èèyàn máa lè wá point finger sáwà táwa alábùrọ̀ kò ní dá fún yín. Ẹni ṣoríire. Born bastard. Ṣé nakedness lèmi wà? èyí tẹ́ wà ní nakedness ẹgbẹ́gbẹ́ ayé tó dáa kwashiorkor pa gbogbo yín àwọn ọmọ lè lọ sí hospital wọ́n lè lọ sí school àwọn ọmọ ọdún wa ní sínú under 15 minutes wọ́n máa kọ́ wọn dé láti school wọ́n máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé kí lè jẹ ní school kí lè ṣe ní school. That is what we are asking for. You think all your influencer cares about what I'm talking about? Àwọn olóṣì àfi kọ́ máa wá bí tí Yorùbá nation tó ti fi ṣe mistake ìyẹn làwọn máa post sórí Insta blog olórí burúkú àti Linda Ikeji àwọn olóṣì olórí burúkú Linda Ikeji olóṣì tó ń gbé ní Surulere jìbò ń dóko politician òun náà fi lówó lọ́wọ́ bomb bastard ìwọ náà wá fẹ́ ṣe bí Linda Ikeji olóṣì ẹ̀ wá gist lover kó máa gbé Yorùbá nation ẹ̀rọ pàwọn yẹn kíá ni idiot all over the place. Nigeria crumbling edifice has been described by the external observer as a dilapidated falling house, or more recently as a collapsed structure. All of these descriptions are consistent with the stoop into which Nigeria has fallen in recent decades. Experts acknowledge that the colonial experiment and fabrication in Africa have an unsavory consequence for Africans. I am in Nigeria. Nigeria tó respect níta. Lọ sí South African embassy sọ fún gba visa lọ síbẹ̀. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé fẹ́ lọ ṣe fraud ni. Ọmọ Igbo fẹ́ lọ ṣe drug. Lọ sí Kenya. Take your passport to even Benin Republic. Káwọn Fúlàní tó fi sẹ́nu ọ̀nà tó wà lábí wèrè. Deal with us. Governance for peace and stability, social capital have been robbed each country of an internal sense of belonging, as well as of any possibility of development in an holistic sense. Experts urge that in the Nigerian case, Nigeria might be case study lọ́jọ́ iwájú bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ Soviet Union for break ìgbà tó fẹ́ break láì tí mọ̀ ọdún mẹ́ta ọdún mẹ́rin ni ó máa break ọdún mẹ́fà ni àná ni ọ̀lẹ́ ló máa break ni break up of Nigeria ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nígbà táwa ti fi ara sí láti 3 years ago ẹ̀rọ pa àwọn máa yọ ẹsẹ̀ kúrò ń bẹ̀ kò ní dá fún yín àwa máa tápọ́n sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹni máa kú ẹni máa yé àwọn olóṣèlú lórí burúkú yẹn lọ máa kú pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ wọn àwọn ìka mọ̀ ń wá délékè lórí pitch ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n fi kí n lọ fi small park tó wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ lé mi kí n fi wọ̀nyí kẹwu bí park ṣe ń dán pẹ̀lú grass ó ń launch stadium kan ń gbá football lórí ẹ wo grass àwọn olè ẹ jẹ́ ń gbé lọ sí park just ordinary park kí máa ti wà lọ sí àwọn academy tó ti ń train àwọn ọmọ kò wo stadium bó ṣe ń dán yán idiot all over the place gbé kú káàkiri bí wèrè máa jójó ẹlẹ́yẹ̀yà àtọ́ba máa jẹun káàkiri máa lọ pátí ọba tó yẹ kó wà nínú ilé kọ́ máa bá nínú ilé ọba tí wọ́n káàkiri àwọn ọba wọn káàkiri àwọn balẹ̀ Yorùbá ìwà ní kọ́ fún yín lọ́wọ́ níta wọn ní àwa lọ́mọ Yorùbá ọmọ aládé adéwò we respect the stool probably not even the person there. The third package, it's not too fast. Experts have that in the Nigerian case, the negative character of African post-colonial state is the signpost in the prevailing high level of public corruption, poor leadership, and a near anarchy. And these have dragged the Nigerian state into the outright failure. The relentless decline towards this point of failure has generated immense human misery. Wàá máa rẹ́ lómi báyìí wàá máa sunkún ni pé irú ìyàwó lélẹ́yìí. Ṣé Ọlọ́run dá wa pé ká jìyà ni? Ṣé wọ́n fipọ̀ Ọlọ́run dá wa pé ká jìyà ni? Yes. Tó bá tẹ̀ dá wa ká jìyà ṣé kò tí tó ká pé ìyà yẹn ti tó kò tí tó yín. The sad package of the human suffering that is called Nigeria ìlú òṣèlú lórí burúkú. Wọ́n à nínú meeting kan pẹ̀lú bàbá Akíntóyè pẹ̀lú àwọn kékeré kan ní last week. Bàbá náà wọ́n tẹ̀ fi máa gbọ́ ká máa compare anything pẹ̀lú ìlú òṣì Nigeria yẹn. Ó ní stop comparing anything with Nigeria. Nigeria ṣe nǹkan tá a lè máa compare anything pẹ̀lú. Nígbà tá a tẹ̀ tó sọ pé ẹni ní no don't stop comparing it. Ẹ máa compare. Yíyan ṣe country. Because a country will work for the people and the people will enjoy it. Ṣé nìkan tó lè fi work ni? Àwọn ọmọ mi show video kan lẹ́kìtì. Wọ́n ní for 20 years wọ́n ṣe títì. human suffering, dilapidated country. And stop costing Nigeria from abroad. Kò ní dá fún bàbá ẹ̀ ni mo sọ. Ọmọ àlè. Kí ló ìwọ ọmọ Nàìjíríà ni. Nítorí ìbò kó kakọ gbogbo ẹ̀ papọ̀. Ìwọ ni ṣe ṣe ọmọ Lugard. Ṣé wọ́n délé Lugard? Èdèmí délé Lugard. Bàbá ẹ̀ délé Lugard. Ṣé ọmọ tó ń pè ní Lugard? Ṣé ọmọ kó ìyàwó àti girlfriend ẹ̀ ọmọ kó wọ̀ marry? Ọmọ kó wọ̀ bímọ fúnra wọn gan. Because of my time, and I still have few more to read. We will not probably be able to read everything. I wanted to do this. I'm still going to do it record on its own, but I'm just doing this with analysis, and I'm going to pull it down right now. Part 2 Makbadawa Bialale, because I don't want to be called when my close the whole broadcast. So Akade, where am I? Just leave it like this. So let's leave it like this. If it's Akade, Makbadawa she part 2 later. Could it da for you? Moki wo boyan lolufewa. OLAYOMI KOIKI ni mo nje. Koikimedia. Have a very good afternoon and bye for now.